This morning. Happy Friday, everyone. I appreciate everyone's time today. I know today's a busy office day, and I want to go ahead and get jump started into today. What we're going to be talking about is maximizing our pay through quality and conservation. And really, the purpose of today's. Hey,
Hey,
did you
hey,
want to
I,
say
I
something?
sent you a
Come
text
on.
that I need the first second. Yeah. So I was
Oh,
trying to get this down from Nikki. We ran a PR contest, Angela, after the Zoom. And
okay.
so PR contest, let me just go ahead and call out the five winners. I'll need you to reach out to Nikki or get with your AD and get me your cash tag so I can send you $100. First and foremost, with the most PR submitted out of Valdosta, Georgia. Give it up for Kirsten Bowling. All right, Kirsten, I'm sending you $100. And then we drew out of a stack of names we had there. Uh, Dang, I didn't write down what offices these were from. Jamie Neff, whatever office you're in. I know Alice is in Augusta. Matthew Upton in Valdosta in Waycross, and Jeff Tonelli in Richmond Hill. I don't know, Jamie, what office you're in, but whatever office you're in, get with your AD and have them. I think that's in Jacksonville. Now to think about it, I'm pretty sure that was. I can't remember. Anyhow, get with your AD. Give me your cash tag. I'll send all of y'all $100, $500 going out. 1 hour contest. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Now I got to get on my 3 o'clock. Angela, it's all yours.
Awesome. Awesome. Congratulations, guys, to those winners. Whoop, whoop. All right, let's get jump started. Let me get my screen shared here, and we will get started. All right, all right. Awesome, guys. Well, I want to make sure everybody give me a thumbs up if you all have the new quality pay chart in front of you that should have been printed. Thumbs up, Waycross, Jax, you got the new quality pay chart printed. Thumbs down if you don't. All right, Gabriel, if you can work on getting the new quality pay chart, please, that I had printed to everybody, is Bree or Gabriel, please, if we can get that. It's the brand new one we're going over. Richmond Hill. That also, you guys have the new quality pay chart in front of you all. Give me a thumbs up because I can't hear. I see Richmond's got it. Awesome, awesome. So Valdosta's got it. All right, we're waiting on Waycross. There's Waycross. All right, guys. Well, let's get started here. So, just to kind of re-intro, we're going over today. I'm gonna go mute. I'm getting some background noise in, but today we are getting started, and we're going to be talking about maximizing pay through quality and conservation. I know this is an area of opportunity for a lot of us, and really the purpose of us going over this today is because I know for a lot of us sales folks, I understand the grind of the day to day in the field. I've done it. I've been there. I completely understand. And the thing about it is, I really want you guys to take a second to think. Think for a second on what it takes for us to make a sale. Because in all actuality, really our focus day in and day out is how can I get a paycheck for this week, right? We got to go through, we're prospecting, setting appointments, following up for appointments, presentations, doing follow-ups again for rosters to get full paperwork, to then solidify enrollments, going to the enrollments, sitting down, meeting with each individual employee. Then it takes an underwriting process. Sometimes we have to follow up with QAC calls, get CODs placed, and then going through and delivering deductions just to make sure that that sale stays on the books and we're servicing it to for it to actually generate the full totality of compensation for you, which is not just direct pay and bonus. Okay. It's not just commissions. So, where a lot of my new agents, and I really want for my agency directors, GAs, and SAs, like I know the very beginning, we're going to breeze through the beginning of this very quickly because it's just going to be some a summary over what you guys may already know, but the latter part of what we're going over really is for a lot of my folks in leadership, simply because a lot of you have been here for more than 6 months. And this is where I really want your mindset to be able to shift on, yes, how can I make a paycheck this week? but also what am I doing to ensure the paychecks that I've made in the past are going to be maximizing my income for me and my family through the form of commissions and through renewals. So that's really what I want us to look at. The biggest thing, and I want all of us to hear me on this when I say, you know, ask yourself right now, what do your conservation efforts look like today? Okay. I want everybody to give me a thumbs up if you have conservation efforts or a thumbs down if you do not. And I want us all to be transparent, including myself. Let me see it. I see some thumbs up. Okay. I see some thumbs down, Augusta. I see Jack's got some thumbs down. Okay. So, in all actuality, we have so much that we're balancing that conservation really is something that has just been put to the side or the back of the mind. And I think part of it can be because we don't really know what to do or how to do it. Or in our minds, we also think it takes a lot of time for us to do in order for us to generate results. That's why we don't do it. Whether that be you, I mean, either one, if that's you, the thing about it is you're really missing out on the opportunity. And think about it. We just talked about what it takes to get us to a sale. So why on God's green earth, where we go through all of that investment to get a sale one time for then when if or when it does charge back, I said if or when it does charge back, for us to then do absolutely nothing, for it to not continue to pay us in commissions and it not to pay us in renewals. Right. So if you're just focusing on the upfront of getting a paycheck one week, you're not even looking at what it really can do in the totality of paying you in the long run. Okay. So that's really the um gist of where I'm wanting to just start from. Oh, and then one thing, another thing also too is for my agency directors, I want to make sure that you guys are also, I don't want, I know this is stuff that we've gone over before, but for you guys, I get right now the season that we're in, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of different things that you guys are balancing from recruiting to training to developing to growing. I get it. I understand. And the thing is my expectation is not for you as individual ADs to necessarily be doing this consistently, but your question for you is what is my team doing when it comes to our conservation efforts? What is your team? And the agents to my GAs for you guys, where policies do come, if a policy does come back, the thing is it is going to impact you all the most, not necessarily the ADs. It's going to impact the agent, the SA, and the GA the most. And that's why the purpose of this training is to equip you as agents to GAs to making sure you guys know what to do, what to look for, and how to actually do it. Okay. So as we go through this, I just want you guys to understand that when we talk about quality, I know, guys, our Thursday quality calls can be so just like intense sometimes. I mean, mundane. Like we're going through these questions, we're going through reports, and it's like pulling teeth. And I understand that's time, but it's so important because the reason why we do this, my job is to ensure that you guys are maximizing your income week after week, month after month for you and your families. Okay. So when we talk about quality and how it pays in direct pay, bonus, commissions. Remember your commission account. Yes, you have stuff in your commission account, but when your commission account balance is over 3,000, you're getting that draw, that 4% over 3,000. When it's over 4%, 6% of that, excuse me, 3,000, it's 4%. If it's over 4,000, it's then 6%. So it starts to that percentage of paying out increases as there is more in your commission account. Okay. And we're going to go over that on conservations from commissions. And the most importantly, not least, in how quality pays is through you in the form of renewals, which when a policy pays its 13th month or more, it pays you month over month. Okay. And that's really the most important measure of quality in regards to wealth building. So I would like everybody wave your top quality pay chart. I want to make sure the ones that didn't have it, I already got it printed. Wave your quality page right in the air. We all got it in front of us. I want you to get a pen out. Let's take some notes. We're going to be going through this, showing you the updates and the changes that took place. And then on the back, I'll get you to flip over when we get done, and we're going to write some notes down as we go over the content. Jack, still no quality page chart. Is that correct? Okay. Somebody's getting it printed? Yes. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate the initiative. All right. So either way, it is on the screen. Okay. Your very first 7 months as an agent, if you're a brand new SA, your first 7 months as an SA, GAs, when you first get on that promotion or your very first time getting a paycheck, your first 7 months, your direct pay and bonus is being measured on DCN. Everybody, even ADs, like this is the brand new pay chart. They've made adjustments on direct pay and they've made adjustments on bonus. So I do want you guys to be able to identify and see this. On DCN, it is now going to be 0 to 9%, where we can at least get um, full direct pay. Let me get my little annotation here so that way I can make some notes on here. 0 to 9% is the new adjustment. I think before it was 0 to 13. If your commission account is in the positive, it is going to be full direct pay, 60%. Obviously, the difference of 40% is going to go into your commission account. 18% is now the DCN. If they have an 18% or higher, there is no direct pay. Everything is going into the commission account. Okay. And when it comes to agents that are, so that's on that sheet you guys have, it's at the very top. So that was the adjustment made on the direct pay chart for DCN. On the bonus portion of the DCN, there have been no changes at all. It's still the same 9% DCN gets you at 100 bonus. If you're at a 13% in DCN, there's no bonus. Okay. So nothing's changed on the bonus chart. All right, everybody, if you are on persistency, I want you to raise your hand. If you have been here for more than 8 months or more, raise your hand. Okay. For a lot of my hands that just got raised are the ones that I usually get the most questions from when it comes to persistency. So we're going to dive deeper into it and I'm going to go through this very quickly. But this is the adjustments, and they've made the most adjustments on persistency when it comes to quality pay. 8 months or more, now your persistency has to be at an 89% or higher in order to get full direct pay if your commission account is in the positive. 60%. However, it's in the negative, which indicates these parentheses. Let's say you have an 89% persistency and your commission account is negative $100 in this bracket right here. Then direct pay then drops to 50% and the remaining 50 goes into the commission account, which, guys, commission account is good for us. It's like a cushion for us just in case something happens. Policies, some do come off. Our goal is to have it and keep it minimal. However, when it does, we want to make sure that that is not coming from pay, it's coming from our commissions. However, it's also reducing that balance in your commission account. Okay. So I want to make sure we keep that in mind. And also, the 81% persistency is now the threshold for no direct pay on persistency factors. The new biggest one that I have here is the bonus chart. So on your sheet that Chris and Jax is passing out, the bottom right is going to be the persistency multiplier bonus. That's the newest updated one. Okay. Before it was 87 to 89, where you're going to be at 100% bonus. Now the quality factors are 87 to 89 for you to get 100% of your bonus. And it is now going to be an 83% or less if, if you're at 83% or less, it's no bonus. So that the standards on a work site, because quality generally is better on the work site than it is in individual market, they have now raised the standards. This new quality pay chart goes into effect. Everybody write this down on the top of your sheet, September 25th of this year. September 25th. Why are we talking about it today? If you've been here for more than a year, you already know when it comes to quality, it is measuring business that we have written and submitted in the past. For DCN, it's looking at business that we've submitted the last 6 months and stuff that has fallen off within the last 3 months. For persistency, it's looking at business that has, think about a work site, it's issued in July, August, and September. Issued July, August, and September, which means we wrote it in April, May, and June of last year. So we have to understand if the standards are being raised for quality factors, we have to talk about it now because the adjustments we make today are going to affect our numbers that are going to generate on the September 25th quality report. So quality is something you can't wait to do and make an adjustment and expect your numbers to change today. or that month, it takes time for that business to fall off and the good business to roll back on. Okay. And so those are the new quality pay charts. And you do have that. So I just wanted to make sure we had went over those changes that are going into effect. And I do want us to look at here, just so you guys understand where we are at as an agency as it pertains to how we're trending and make sure my online billing doesn't log out. Oh, looky here. Give me a second. I had double clicked this and it loaded, and I guess it went back to the main menu. But I want you guys to be able to see how we're actually trending for both DCN and for persistency. Okay. So the again, the quality report's generated on the 25th. However, for some reason there's a delay on our home office reporting right here. Specifically, um, February has not generated. So we're going to be looking at the trend just for DCN up here at the top left. As you guys can see, like we typically generate an DCN of 8 to 9% month over month. We did have an abnormal 12% in September. We had an account that had hit on something. We got it resolved and it dropped back down to a 10. This month for February, our DCN was actually an 8%. So we made some progress there. uh, DCN declines, cancels, and not takens. Not takens is the biggest thing that really hammers our DCN. And then on the persistency side, we generally have a persistency between an 89 to a 91 in the last year. Last month was the first time in over almost 2 years where we dropped to an 87%. And that was because we had two accounts that one was an ineligible industry and another one we had just worked really heavy on in a construction industry. And so that whole entire thing canceled. And so obviously when two accounts like that fall off, it impacts our agency numbers as a total. But February did fall at an 89, which we see that those numbers are progressing also for both DC and persistency as an agency, which is good, guys. It's great. We're moving in the right direction. It is better. However, I know we can do better because when our quality factors are higher than an 89%, or even a 90, you guys start getting paid more in bonus when your quality factors are above the company average, which if you can look on your quality pay chart, you can even see on there. If you look at your bottom right on the persistency, that bonus chart, and I'll bring us back here, we could see that a 92% right here will pay us 105% in bonus. So it's not just, 100%. Like quality can actually pay you more in the long run by doing the things that we're getting ready to go over when it comes to closing the back door of what's falling off on business you may have already written. Okay, so now that we've gone over the adjustments on the pay chart, I do want us to look at let's see here, the different quality reports that we should be conserving from. Okay, so these are the things I always get, like I don't understand where to start. Or some people will conserve business from one report and they're like, well, why isn't my persistency changing? And I'm like, well, it's helping your DCN, but it's not really impacting your persistency because you have to understand what reports impact which quality factor. Okay. Which reports impact which quality factor? So, lost business, I send out every Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday, depending on when home office updates those reports. But lost business affects only DCN. It shows declines, cancels, and not takens. Okay. This is what the email looks like when I send it out every month, or excuse me, every Tuesday. I give you a glimpse of what all we've grossed, what all we've net, and the difference is going to be what's fallen off. So we should be opening this attachment right here, um, which is on my screen. So if you all can look up, I know it is a lot of information. However, I want us to be able to see, okay, your goal when you open this is to see, okay, let me look at my teams. Let me see here what I have the opportunity in conserving. Okay, so just by looking here, let's just look at team Speaks. Gabriel Speaks is, all right. They had the most this past week on lost business. And so the thing is when I look over here, the first thing I do is I look over to my left, the recycle type. If it's a D, it's a decline. It's really nothing we can really conserve on. If unless it's a home office error, if it's a C, it's a cancellation, meaning we could try to amend or place a COD, or sometimes the customer may have canceled. Let's reach out to try to get them, their quality assurance call done, try to salvage. Or sometimes it's something that we may have written a duplicate on, and those aren't salvageable. So the ones that I focus on for conservation are these ends, which is not takens. And the one thing that I really want you guys to keep in mind when it comes to not takens is going to be the conservation rule. When you're going in these reports, the number one question you have to ask yourself when you're looking at conservations is, or looking at these reports, is the policies that are lapsed or processes not takens can be waived up to 90 days, can be waived up to 90 days of back premium. So this can be from lapse policies or for not takens on lost business. So think 90 days. So as we're looking in lost business right here, let me make this a lot bigger so you guys can see on my screen. Not takens told you to look at the recycled type, which means that if it's a not taken, a policy holder got removed off of an invoice where the initial premium has never paid, or an entire worksite account may have canceled and the initial premium has never paid. Okay. So now I'm looking over here, and the next column I want to look at is going to be on most other reports, it's going to say the paid to date. But the reason why the lost business says issue date is because it's never paid the initial premium. So it's issued, but we haven't collected any money. So that's the reason why it's saying issued, which is going to be the paid to date. And if we're in February right now, February 28th, if you look here, this December policy right here, today is the last day that I can call this customer and conserve them over to bank draft, getting their routing number, account number, and a draft between the 1st through the 10th that we want their premiums to come out. They want to be able to keep their coverage. Today is the last day because we're waiving December, we're waiving January, and we're waiving February. And that's 3 months. As of tomorrow, we no longer can waive this policy. Now, on all these other policies that have a 1/1 effective date, these are the ones that we have the capability of also reaching out. We have one more month, which is going to be all of March. We have the capability of reaching out to conserve those policies. So if I'm just at a glance looking at this, lost and found, I know that this was an account we had tried. I think they conserved some policies over to conservation. Those I think just submitted this past week. So those may revive by next week. DNA distribution. I know the employees got removed off because I go through and I look at this one before I send it out. However, all these that the employee got removed off, I have the capability of reaching out and conserving them over to bank draft. Okay. Just picking up the phone and giving the customer a call. And it's not one time, guys. I know when it comes to, I asked the question earlier, what do your conservation efforts look like? Well, for some of my teams that are fighting on persistency, trying to get their numbers higher, I always get, we're not getting anywhere. I made calls and we haven't gotten any result. My number one question after that is, how many times have you called this customer? Have you gone through this list just once? Yes, and we just didn't get anywhere. Okay. And then my next question is after you call and leave a message, do you send a text message? So those are some 10 things that I'd really like for you guys to understand is as much follow-up as we have to do in the field to close a case or to set an appointment or do a presentation is just as much follow-up as we need to do on conservation. Now, it's easier on conservation because all you have to do is pick up the phone and give them a call. I leave a voicemail. Then I have a template text message and I send them a text message. And I do that because I get a lot more responses back via text message than I do people listening to their voicemails and calling me back. I do get some people, but I do get a lot more responses back via text message. And just to give you an idea, my conservation effort results or efforts are in the middle because they're not consistent. When I focus on it and do it, I'll do maybe an hour, 2 hours, sometimes a week. And then it falls off the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm like, man, I got to get back on my conservation game. Well, here's the thing is when I'm doing my conservation, the time that I do it and do follow up within that hour, that 1 hour, I can get about $2,500 worth of conservations from what I'm calling on in just 1 hour of calling. And sometimes for you guys as teams, when you see everything is commissioned to certain agents or certain GAs or certain SAs, that hour turns into 30 minutes because you're just making phone calls. And when your phone calls don't last, but like if 3 to 5 minutes, if you have somebody pick up the phone. Now, really, it is a lot of follow up afterward because you're reaching out and you get the follow ups, but you have to be can effective in your follow up. When they say, "Give me a call tomorrow," set an alarm. When they say, "I can't talk right now, can you call me back later?" Set an alarm. When I get somebody on the phone and go over their policy information and they say, okay, well, I need to talk to my wife. Okay, great. Completely understand. What time are you going to get home and you and your wife where I can give you guys a call back and we can go everything together? And here's the key, guys, on how you create urgency. And I talked about this a lot today on my calls is this past week a lot of times we're following up, but there's no urgency for these customers to understand. I've got to get with my wife and I've got to call this person back because if they say they want their coverage and they absolutely need it, they have to understand the urgency of getting the information back to you so they can keep it. And a lot of times customers don't think they're like, oh, I can call them next week or I can call them, they'll call me back. I'm sure maybe next month I'll be able to get it handled. Well, technically, on these specific policies that we're talking about right now, they are lapsed as of today and they are not covered. Or you may have some that you look at that you're calling on that may be covered. And however, the it's getting ready to lapse. So that's the urgency I create. Your policy is getting ready to lapse. Or in this specific policy right here that has a paid due date of 12/1, I say this, and I say this on the phone, and I say this in my voicemail, and I say this in a text message. It just depends on what level of urgency based off of paid due dates that I'm giving them a call. On this one right here in front of me, if I get somebody on the phone and they're like, oh my gosh, yes, I left, I want to keep my policy, uh, I've got my information at home. Like I'm not going to get home till later. Can you call me back tomorrow? I 100% can call you back. Here's the problem is today's the very last day that I can waive all the back premium for you. After tomorrow, I cannot waive anything and you have to pay all the back premium. And your policy is already lapsed. So with today being the deadline, what time do you get home? 6 o'clock? Okay, great. I'll give you a call and we can go over all that information. It'll be quick and we can get you taken care of. And so now the customer understands like they have to answer your call if they really want the coverage. If they don't, guys, I understand and you follow up, you send them a text message, they blow you off. That's on them. Move on to the next one. But the thing is the urgency is the thing that helps get people to initiate calling you back. And if you're not creating that urgency in text messages or in your voicemails, your coverage is lapsed as of today. So I'm trying to see what I can do to help you keep your benefits. Um, or, today's the last day I have the capability of waiving any back premium for you. So please give me a call back as soon as possible. That level of detail changes. And a lot of you know that that is a fact because when I have you change the way you word text messages to bookkeepers sometimes, to get them to pay a payment online, they'll reply back and say payment was submitted. And it's just literally how we communicate and the type of words that we use. Okay. So I know that was a lot on just lost business. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of strategy on what that looks like when you're having a conversation with a customer, the follow up, the level of effort that sometimes we have to go through to conserve somebody. And so that's lost business. Again, it only affects declines, cancels, and not takens. So for my new agents that have been with us for 7 months or less, lost business you should be looking at every single week. If you are not getting lost business as an SA or an agent, let us know. I know some of the admin or the ADs reply back and say, hey, can you please add, so and so on here? And I go ahead and adjust that immediately. But if you're not looking at it and you are getting it and you're not doing anything with it, the challenge is it's going to be a surprise to you once the quality 25th report comes. And by that point, it'll be too late. So you have to look at lost business week after week to ensure your DCN stays as small as possible. Okay. Next, we're going to go over is commission chargebacks. And so commission chargebacks affects both DCN and your persistency. So that's where you're going to find the most um, on both. Okay. And usually I get the call right away, oh my gosh, I just had $20,000 worth of business charged back on me. You log into ICM right here. They see this big old bar at the bottom, and they're like, all they see is the amount, and it's like a punch in the gut when you see it, right? The thing is instead of responding in a way where you're like, okay, what do we do? How do we do this? The, you're panicking and freaking out at the dollar amount. Go to the detail, pull it up. It does take a little bit of time. I understand you're in the field, guys. If you're in the office on Fridays, if you have a little bit of a break, like after you're done in the field looking at it, I mean, like this is an administrative task. I understand that. But when you do it by agent, if every agent is doing their job, if every SA is doing this, GA is doing this, that I promise you, the deep dive does not take anywhere near as much as it does for me to have to do it at the agency level or for your ADs to have to do it at the AD level because that block of business is a whole lot larger, which does take a little bit more time. For my ADs, guys, if you are not doing this, I promise you, it is really not. I'm like, you're doing yourself a disadvantage because now the only way that you have to respond to quality is by a response. Like, you can't be proactive at this point. You're just really seeing money come off of your commissions. And if you're not doing anything that's hard earned money, you and your team have worked to get the commissions, and for it to just fall off and you do nothing when it takes a simple phone call, sometimes a couple to follow up, but a couple of phone calls or a phone call to get them conserved on. You don't even have to go back out to see the customer. Okay. And so let's look at what that looks like as commissions and chargebacks go. And before I do that, I want you guys to see the chargeback percentage right here. Chargeback percentages. So when you see something on chargebacks, 0 to 2 months of people paying premiums is going to be a 100% chargeback. Oh, excuse me, 100% chargeback. 3 months where they've paid and they've canceled is a 90% chargeback. Okay. So here I already know that if I'm on persistency and I see anything on my chargebacks that has a 90%, it is a guarantee you are going to see it on your future persistency later on down the road. It could be like 3, 4 months down the road before you see it on future persistency. But your chargebacks you can see week after week. You will notice that a majority of your chargebacks do fall on the pay that is after the 19th of the month. And that's because that's when policies are 49 days past due. When they're 49 days past due is when they charge back out of your commissions. Okay. Obviously, anything else after 90% is going to be at that point where it's just impacting your first year commissions, not affecting DCN or not affecting persistency. So again, just to recap on the percentage, 100%, think, okay, I'm on DCN. I need to look at these 100% because it's going to be affecting my DCN. If it's 100% or 90, if you're on persistency, I need to look at these 100% or 90s because they're going to affect my persistency at some point. And let's see what I can do to conserve it. So this is the first line of defense you have that you can access in your ICM to pull in a spreadsheet format, which we're getting ready to look at right here. Okay. Which I pulled. This is from the agency. And I pulled this and I want you guys, and let me make sure my screen and my online billing is good to go for us to do this exercise. Okay. So let me zoom in a little bit. I know everything is kind of small because there's a lot of policy information. The thing is, I get that, oh, am I good with Excel? Or how do I do this? I don't understand how to read it. Where do I start? Well, this is how you start. You pull the Excel and you just do the deep dive. And you have to do this once, twice, 3 times by the time you get like used to the actual motion of doing it and realizing, okay, it's really not that bad. It does take a little bit of time, but it's not that bad and overwhelming as most people think it is initially. So when I pull this Excel spreadsheet, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a filter right up here. I click on filter, add a filter. I've already added one, obviously. And my first thing that I do is I sort by franchise number. Why? Because my franchise numbers, when I sort by franchise number, excuse me right here, it is going to give me all the policies that are grouped together that belong to a franchise. Why do I want to do that? Well, let's look over here. Let me close out some of this so I can make navigating through here a little bit easier. Second, guys. Okay. Okay. Um, why do I want to do this? Because blocking the franchise numbers together allows you to be able to determine, is it policies that have been removed off of payroll deduction? One, are these policies that it's a still on payroll deduction? However, the payroll deduction account may be delinquent. Two, sometimes in chargebacks. So here, let me give you an overview. In chargebacks, you're going to have policies that have declined, canceled, or not taken. You're going to have policies where, like cancel right here, you can see chargeback reason is going to say CAN, which is canceled. Everything else lapsed means that the policies has reached 49 days past due. But that doesn't necessarily tell you if it's delinquent or if it's been removed off, and we just have to conserve it because it is still, in fact, 49 days past due. Or if there's anything in the underwriting process that have maybe canceled the policy or amended it to a COD, you're also going to see that chargeback. Okay. And so here's an example after I've sorted by franchise number. What I do the same exact exercise in chargebacks, ADs, GAs. We've done this on our quality calls sometimes. I've showed you guys this. I want to show it to everybody because what I don't want is agents, SAs, and GAs. You guys are waiting for the GAs or waiting, or excuse me, waiting for the ADs to do it or waiting for me to do it. Sometimes ADs are like, well, I haven't done it. Can you just do it on our call really quickly? No, guys, at this point, I'm equipping you to fully do it on your own so that way you know what exactly to do. Now I come through here, I see the very first one I'm identifying and I'm looking for franchise numbers that like I could see here, 32836. That's quite a couple of policies. I think I've already looked at this one. I went into online billing. So I copy this franchise number. I go into online billing. I paste it, count number. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. And in the online billing, guess what? I see that at least in the last 4 months, some business has been removed off. But that doesn't really give me my answer yet because I need to look at the most recent invoice. And I 100% know if I search for this top policy, and I don't do this for every policy, guys, I spot check it. I search for the policy number, no policy found. So that tells me that these policies that came off are not found. So I went ahead and notated, okay, this account policies have been removed from payroll deduction. Well, here's something else I want you guys to notice. And I'm gonna make this super big. Okay. Chargeback percentage now, column M, for these policies at Griner. Okay. We said 100% can be DCN or persistency, and we know the 90% for certain are going to impact persistency. So this 90% is going to affect persistency. It shouldn't say in persistency. I should just say, hang on. I know for a fact this one is going to affect persistency, so I definitely want to give them a call. And the 20s, 10%, 80%, these are, oh, and let me show you. And how do I know this? Just so you guys can see for my newer agents, like when I go through and I paste this policy into my Epic, it's going to show me on the policy details. The effective date is 9/1. They've paid September, October, November, but the paid to date is December. December has not been paid. Okay. And that right there just gives you a glimpse of all you need to do is see this 90% to know that that policy is affecting your persistency, and everything else is just going to be your chargebacks. Okay. So anything you conserve and revive on these policies, obviously that money and those commissions go right back into your commission account, boosting that commission account balance. So that's one example on here. I want to look at another one where you guys can see. Um, I found this one on here. I've seen it, 355. And again, I just do this for, my block of franchise numbers. I don't do it for every single one because I know like if I see here, this is just one franchise number on this example for Aaron Westerman on one franchise number, it's more than likely just an employee that's been removed off from payroll deduction. And I see here's the chargeback is 40%. It's not affecting my DCN or persistency, but I do want to still call them because it's affecting my commissions and my renewals. Okay. So on this example right here, I had seen this franchise number, but what I noticed was the insured's names are listed differently. So if you can see here on my screen, it's green. I'll make it a little bit bigger. The insured's names are different. No, it doesn't have the same last name like this one up here did. It's got different insured names, can be different policy or employees. So now I'm searching over here on the online system to see, okay, Bailey Sigler. Looking up here, this is an account. And I look here and I'm like, okay, wow. Well, no policies have been removed in the last 4 months. I see that. They've been paying as billed. So the February invoice has not been paid. Oh, what just happened? The February invoice has not been paid. Okay. And when I go through and I want my ADs, GAs, and SAs, I need you looking up at my screen and paying attention to this specific because I get this question asked so many times. So if I come over here and a lot of you, what you guys usually do is you go over to Epic and you're searching it first in Epic and you're like, hey, well, this policy 3/1, it's showing paid to a due date of 12/1. Policy update, Epic policies update once a week in Epic. The reason why I do my deep dive through online billing is because I always look at their most recent invoice. And when I paste this policy number in here, I can see that this policy has paid its January premium, but the policy is paid to January 26th because their January bill was only 4 weeks. It was only we have our 445 billing. It was only 4 weeks. So I know in my mind, well, even though they pay the January bill, I get the question, well, if they pay January, that should have been 4 months. It should have been 4 months. Well, it wasn't 4 months because we really need them to pay a full January in order for it to go to a 2/1 DPT. Okay. So, in looking here, oh, I think I pulled that wrong. Let's show you again. 9/1, December. And then I even pasted the policy number in here, searched it, same again, January 26th. So I know that, hey, this in fact is an account that just needs to pay their February. Once they pay their February premium, it goes ahead and is going to move the entire policies past the 2/1 paid to date. And when I look here, I've highlighted this whole entire franchise because those policies are still on the invoice. So I know that this Bailey Siglers just needs to pay February. And they actually, this is one thing that we noticed, you see here again, chargebacks. So some of them are 30%, some of them are 90%. Well, these two are already affecting persistency. I know they're already affecting February persistency because we've been having this as a conversation on our calls. And we did identify this, but I know here that they have to make this February payment before the March 25th quality report runs. It has to be submitted before the quality report runs, at least a couple days before, in order for it to be a positive to your 25th quality report. Okay. So that's chargebacks. Guys, I know this is like at a deeper level of diving into, but just so you understand what tools it's already made available to you going into the Excel spreadsheets, sorting by franchise, and then seeing where your block of franchises are listed so that way we can determine, okay, is this a franchise that we just need to focus on their delinquent payment? And then, how do I know if they're delinquent? Online billing. Okay, well, if I'm an SA or GA and I can't see my AD's house accounts, how do I know that they're delinquent? Well, you can also check the delinquent report that you get emailed once a week. That's another way you can see if they're passed to as an entire franchise. Okay, and so from here, this is chargebacks. This is something that we should be utilizing, not just to respond from, but actually putting a plan of action behind it to increase our commission account balance. If you are on DCN, making sure that you're seeing policies on here that have 100%, that we're reaching out and conserving those. For my people that are being measured on persistency, we should be looking for the 190% also and making sure those are priority to call on because those will in fact affect your future persistency in the future. Okay. The next thing, and this is going to be a lot faster. I know this is the next report. Let me go back to my PowerPoint so you guys can see, because what we just did is we went over lost business, we went over commission chargebacks, and then I want you to see how this same exercise applies toward future persistency. So it's the same exact exercise, it's just for a different report. And what you are also going to notice is some of these that you see on your commission chargebacks that you may have pulled before may be already showing on your future persistency. Okay. And so you know in your mind, like, okay, the first line of defense is going to be my chargebacks. Once it starts showing on persistency, it's not that it's too late, but the future persistency impact is going to be afterward. And so I send that out every other week, future persistency. This is the email that I send out. I send it to everybody in leadership or anybody that's on this quality pay chart that or future persistency that has a projection and that's being measured on persistency. Okay. And so on here, the attached spreadsheet, well, I resent it to them because I forgot to include it in the email. But on here is what the future persistency report looks like. It's almost identical to your chargebacks, except on your persistency, it actually includes the paid to date, which helps us. Chargebacks shows the percentage. So I do like this on the future persistency because it has this paid to date. So here I've done the exact same thing. I've gone through filter by franchise number, and I come and what I've done is I've seen that okay, this franchise number is popping up a lot. So let me go into here. Let me go into the online billing and or go into my delinquents, be able to see if this account is delinquent. But I do notice that on this account, it is delinquent as well. It's February 28th. So yes, this account is delinquent. They have not paid their February premiums. Okay. They have not paid February premiums. And when I go back to future persistency, their paid to dates on all these policies are January 1st. Again, I get the number one question is well, why is it showing if they've paid January bill, why is it still showing on my persistency? Again, because majority of our accounts are set up on a 445 or 223 billing. So we have to make sure now, if they are set up on that bill, we really need to be looking at them collecting a full 5 months in order to see these policies come off of persistency. Okay. So when I go through and I did my deep dive, I see, yes, I'm going to take this one. When I spot check, I'm going to take this one policy on the most recent invoice. That's not a policy number. And I can see, okay, Allison Rollerson, paid to date January 29th. It needs to have at least a 2/1 paid to date or more in order for it to be removed off of persistency. So I know now that on this March, these are March projections. This is my future persistency that is going to be populating on the March 25th report. I know that this account right here, Lake Oconee needs to pay their February invoice before the March 25th report. And when I go through and I highlight, man, this is at least a total of $4,400 that's going to help move my projections and my persistency higher. So then that way I'm maximizing on my pay if I'm being measured on persistency. And here's another thing, not just your pay in terms of quality. You also see chargebacks showing where the account may not be in your mind delinquent, but because they're on a 445 bill, they still need to make that next month's payment in order for it not to show as a chargeback on your ICM chargeback list. So that same concept applies for chargebacks. That's why you have to do the exercises for both so you can see, okay, do we need to get them paid or do I need to conserve and reach out to the employees on an individual basis? And remember, guys, on the 25th report, on the night of the 24th, once that night generates, that like your compensation of direct pay and bonus for quality is going to be that locked in for the entire month until the next 25th report comes for you guys to be able to make a change. So that's why that commission account is really important to look at and make plans of actions on. You see it on your biggest one is on the 19th. You want to have put plan of actions in place from then on. And you want to make sure that those accounts and delinquents and conservations are at least done before the 25th report runs, because once that 25th report runs, it's measuring that commission account balance at that specific point in time. Okay. Which we saw on the direct pay chart. If you look down at your direct pay chart, the ones on the left, that middle column says commission account balance. So if it's in the negative, you're getting paid on a negative direct pay percentage for the next month, entire month before the next quality report runs. Okay. So from here, let's see. We just went over future persistency. Policyholders removed from payroll deduction. I'm not going to go that much into depth on that. I'm just going to pull up the email you guys can see. This literally lists every single policyholder that's been removed off of payroll deduction. This tells you something that's been removed off week after week. Okay. So if you can catch it here, you really can catch it before you catch it on commissions, before you see it on commissions, before you see it on future persistency, before you see it on lost business. This is the one thing that shows you if the policies are coming off, going ahead and trying to conserve them before. And really the thing is, again, to do is sorting by franchise. Go into your branch. If you're in Jacksonville, I would pull up 142, filter through this. I would sort by franchise number, and I would see, okay, you know your agency number, these two-digit agency numbers, and I would see the company name. Okay, my agency number's here. I was involved in this enrollment. I need to reach out to this employee. The thing on this report, I know I had been sending out the one with the telephone numbers on it, but I'm not getting it for all the branches right now. They are working on it, so we kind of had to go back to the old one, but that should be fixed here soon. But I did want you guys to be able to see that is, again, another opportunity that we're seeing. If these reports are showing you, it's like, hey guys, here's something you got to have a plan of action on. And if your efforts are non-existent at this point or as of today, know that you're really missing out on money in the long run. You're missing out on commissions. You're missing out on the opportunity of you getting paid out in renewals. And for my SAs, GAs, and ADs that have been here for more than a year, like guys, like renewals is now the thing that you should be focusing on long term as you're building your wealth here. So the thing that I wanted you guys to see is if you act on these specific reports, they're going to prevent from any surprises from the 25th quality report. Right now, a lot of us are responding to the 25th quality report, which is at this point, it's not that it's too late in terms of being able to, you'll see when you look at your deep dive that the paid to dates are too far behind that we can't conserve people and move them over to bank draft because they're outside of the 90-day window. So we have to be able to get them within that 90-day window, and seeing that that opportunity is going to show you on your policies removed report, on your commissions, on your lost business, and on your future persistency is where you can get it within the 90-day frame. Once it's after 90 days, your only options are to collect all the back premium and go see the customer and get a signature, which is the absolute hardest thing to do. Okay. Not the hardest thing, but it is the hardest form of conserving, where we get more results from just picking up the phone and calling them to then going out and seeing them and getting signatures or even getting virtual signatures. And, you know, as we kind of get to a close, I want you to realize that I know that the effort up front to make a sale and the grind of what we have to do, it's a long process. Okay. And the thing is the time that we invest into it, you get paid on it, you get the commissions. If you do see something on your reports, you do see something charged back, all we have to do is pick up the phone and make a call. We get and I'm going to role play this. Hey, Mrs. Smith, I just wanted to touch base with you. I got an urgent notice that your policy is no longer being paid through payroll deduction, and I want to see what I can do to help you keep your coverage. I just pause and I listen to what they say. Oh, yeah, I left there. Oh, great. Well, as you know, when we talked before, your coverage is portable. You can keep it until uh, no matter what business you work for, or even when you retire, that coverage stays with you on an individual basis. All we have to do is move it over to your bank account. All I need is your routing number, account number, and a draft date between the 1st through the 10th that you want your premiums to come out. And I don't have to have these conservation forms in front of me when I'm making those calls. Like all I need to do is make the calls. Just make the calls and get started. If they're not answering, leave a voicemail, send a text message. I do that for every single call that I make. I know that sounds uh, mundane. However, I only call once a week for 1 hour. And as a QM, I should be calling more. However, volume right now, I'm just trying to play catch up and keep my head above water, as a lot of you out there, most of you may be also. However, it's just taking the time out of your week to make the phone call to ensure that, okay, the hard work and energy and effort that I put forth to get this sale, I'm going to do what I've got to do to keep the sale because that is what's going to pay me more in the long run in the form of your commissions, your renewals, and also maximizing your pay when it comes to quality factors. Because I know that if I don't do this, if my efforts are non-existent, then right now I could be at risk of running into a quality problem, or I may already be in a quality problem where my compensation is being impacted. And now I'm frustrated because my direct pay is dropped, my bonus is dropped. And now I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to fix it? Okay. And so again, I really want to encourage you guys with, I know there's a lot of things that we have to do. There's a lot of different tasks from upfront to chasing, closed cases, getting our sales to increase, for that paycheck for that week. Don't lose sight of the back end of business, which also continues to pay you and also maximizes your income. Okay. Does anybody have any questions as we close? You can unmute your phones. You can type your question into the chat box. All right, no questions. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your time. I hope you guys took something away from this. If there's anything you guys need, feel free to give me a call. And I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. Take care. Bye bye.